Happy Thursday. I hope wherever you are that you and your loved ones are safe and well, that you're having a good week, and that everybody's okay. Gonna get right into it. I had my call with my doctor yesterday morning, and had I filmed this video yesterday, which I almost did, I'm glad I didn't, I would have been a different person because I was in a bad place. Okay, I finally got to talk to him about all the x-ray results. Let me just knock my camera down while I'm moving things. One of the results on the neck MRI showed I'm just going to read this, unchanged suspected prominent perivascular space in the paramedian left cerebellum. It also noticed an incidental, tiny, hyperintense left thyroid nodule. So I was like, I don't care about that. What was before that? I looked it up. I started scaring myself. I finally had to stop. This was weeks and weeks and weeks ago. He's going through all the results. Now, there's problems at every vertebrae level. I also have bilateral perineural root sleeve cysts. Now, all of this is happening in this much space. Why? So I was like, okay, I'm worried about the root sleeve cyst things, and I'm worried about the thyroid thing, but not really. What is the paramedian perivascular? What does that mean? So he goes through, like, he's going through all this other stuff, and then he says to me, well, because I have history of stroke on both sides of my family. So I was like, does this put me at risk of a stroke? Does this put me at risk of other things? Like, what does this mean? And then, like, he turns and he says, I really don't know. So I was like, wait, what? What do you mean you don't know? You know everything. Why? So I did get upset at that point because I thought, okay, it's threat level midnight time and I'm going to lose my mind here. So I was like, you don't know. And he said, I think we need to involve the neurologist. And I'm going to present this to the spinal conference in the office. All of this, like the root sleeve, all that mess. But let's get him involved. Now, the merciful thing is that he's in the same office wing. They work for the same hospital, so he can look at all these results. So I called their office as soon as I hung up with my doctor, and they said, of course we'll see you. I explained the situation, but she said he can't see you till August. So I was like, excellent. So I've got this like time bomb happening in my head. No, I mean, which I've already had, obviously. And the thing is, that with the way they said unchanged, which means they had seen it before, but no one put it in a report, which is what me and my doctor were like, it was there and no one said anything. So I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And he couldn't explain that because he's not a radiologist. He's, that's not what he does. He couldn't read it. We didn't see the films. I mean, he probably could have if he dug into the system more, but it was an old footage, like from 2019 and 2017 that they were comparing it to. So obviously it had been there and no one thought to, it was important enough or that it was a problem. Whatever. Anyway, so they said, but do us a favor, message your doctor because he will, either he or his nurse will see the message and they'll maybe put your mind at ease until then. So I was like, I'm doing that right now. So I messaged him and I'm telling him that it's, blah, blah, blah. What does this mean? I was in a dark place. And so in the interim, I called my mom, and without divulging too much of that conversation, she reminded me that sometimes you have to just say, like, quiet to the world, to the universe, to the people around you, to everything, and just, like, put it all on pause. So I was trying to do that weeks ago when I was looking everything up, and then I finally had to stop because it wasn't getting me anywhere. It was only literally giving me chest pain and making me sick to my stomach. So I was like, I can't really do anything with this information because I don't know how to interpret all of it. What does it all mean? Like, if it's one thing, but it's 10 things, and 10 things on top of each other, and it's like, it's enough to make you really get very upset. So, and I did say that to my doctor, I'm very overwhelmed right now. And I got upset, and he was like, you've dealt with a lot for a lot of years. You're a very strong person. And I didn't feel very strong. I felt like I was drowning in bad things, bad information that I couldn't do anything with. So I was like screaming yesterday afternoon after I got off the phone. I was like, quiet, 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 to my own monologue. Like, don't go there, because it could mean nothing. It could mean nothing. Late last night, I checked my email and I see a message from my doctor's office, and I thought it was my pain management doctor. So I opened it and it's from my neurologist, and he's like, do not go down that road. That is not what it is. It's sort of a normal anomaly that happens. And the fact that it wasn't mentioned in a report does not mean anything. He said it meant that they didn't think it was relevant and that they didn't feel that it was a problem. And so he completely reassured me about that. So once I got that out of the way, then I was like, okay, good. Now I can worry about everything else, which I was. But I can't even tell you, like, it's exhausting getting information that it would have been exhausting and upsetting anyway, because we were talking about the other things going on in my back and the problems that it's causing and the clawing of my hand and all that. The good thing is that my spinal cord in my neck is not being pinched. So that's a very good thing. The bad news is that, you know, the root sleeve cyst, the thyroid nodule, which he wasn't concerned about, because he said also it was mentioned as an incidental thing, something for me to follow up with my internist. So like, I'm not, and it's very tiny. I'm not worried about that because it's like, I've got enough on my plate. So quiet. But like all the other stuff that's happening, and plus the stuff that's happening in my thoracic and lumbar spine, it's exhausting. And if I think about it line by line, vertebrae by vertebrae, it's very upsetting, and it feels like it's too much for me to manage. And then I feel like I'm not coping well. I can't handle it. And so talking to my mom, you know, talking to my family did help me, because it reminded me, like, I've handled worse things. But the thing is, when you have a chronic illness, and this is true of anything in life, and we all do this, every time we get news like this, or we get a setback, or we have to change something, it's like we have to hit this reset button on our emotions, on our plan, on our everything. And I know that's true of anything, like whether you're sick or not. But when you're managing chronic health issues, it's a different reset for me. Because now I have to imagine, like, down the road, I may have to get injections. And he mentioned the radio frequency ablation again, and I was like, please stop mentioning that to me, because I'm never doing it again. I don't care. He mentioned other meds. I don't want to add other meds. I've tried muscle relaxants in the past, which is what he was thinking, and truthfully, they cause me side effects that I'd rather not have. And I don't want other meds. I don't want to be sleepy. I don't want it. You know what I mean? I'd rather not. And I know that drives them nuts, because it's like, this is what we're dealing with. And the issues that I'm having in my thoracic spine right now are, like, when I lean, when I bend, there's a section of my lower back that feels like the bones are doing that, and it burns very badly. And it feels like an exacerbation of something. And he said that I should consider injections for that. And I will, because that really helped, the facet injections. That helped my sacral nerves. And so, of course I would do that. Will I ever do the radiofrequency ablation again? Absolutely not. That is not happening. So, you know, we're hitting this giant reset button and learning how to cope again. And I'm talking about a Foo Fighters song in my blog tomorrow called Walk, because as I was listening to it, and I was, you know, trying to get through yesterday, I just became emotionally exhausted. But I was listening to the song, and it's like, it's true, we have to get up again, we have to walk again, we have to talk again, we have to hit that reset button. And for me, obviously, it's not like a literal, you know, learning to walk again, but it's like we're learning how to refocus and hit that reset, because it's like, okay, this is what's happening. Now I have some answers. Now I have to figure out, okay, down the road, like, you know, in July, we're going to reevaluate the injections and stuff. And I told my doctor, I feel like I go through these waves of dealing with a lot. Then I have a few, fill in whatever time, months, years, days, where things are not fantastic, but I can manage. I don't have to do procedures and stuff. And then I have this giant dip where I have to do a lot of appointments and a lot of things happening, tests and whatever. And then I dip it again. And it is very upsetting, because it's like I have to reset my brain now to like, you can't ignore it. You have to do something about it. I'm turning 48 next month, and my body is not getting stronger, and my spine is not going to become, you know, unjammed up. So I do have to think about, like, I think part of my problem with my back, and I could be wrong, but when I was first dealing with all this, I was limping, like early on, 2003. I was limping really badly. I had a cane. My left leg was so out of control, and then my back got involved, my arms got involved, and so I was guarding myself all the time, and I don't really have great posture anyway, so I don't think that helped my back and my neck. Then, you know, they found out the congenital issues with my spine, and it was like a snowball. It just went down and down and down and down, and then they operated, and then the arachnoiditis, and the arachnoiditis affects other things, and so my legs, my organs, my bladder, I mean, it's bad. And so it's like, you know, people have asked me, is this caused by this? And I think it's like separate things that do not help each other. And then there's autoimmune stuff, and so it's like reset, 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 quiet, 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 and it's very hard. But I was so glad to get that news last night, because I realized, okay, that's one thing I don't have to worry about. The other stuff, I carry it with me. It's like your wallet or your phone, you know. I carry my spinal crap with me everywhere. And I'm trying not to freak out too much. I will not do that procedure. Will I do injections? I would do that, because if it gives my back some relief, I need that, you know. And as far as my left leg, the pain in my left leg, I think I'm having an allergic reaction to the lidocaine, hello, I can speak, ketamine, lidocaine cream, because it's not a full-on rash, itchy patch, but it happens kind of every time I use it, and not immediately. It's like after a little while. And so my doctor was like, maybe if just change, like try to moisturize first and put it on. It just made me laugh, because he's like, don't give it up yet. So I thought, okay, I'll try it again. We'll see what happens. But moving along, I got to do something really amazing today. I mentioned it last week that I was going to be able to do it now that my 2 weeks of vaccination waiting period was up. And I got to go see one of my best friends in the world, my mentor. The reason I got into costuming in dance in the first place, I got to meet him at the school where I used to costume, I still costume. And I picked up a bunch of my stuff that I dropped in my hallway. But it was so weird being back. It was so great to be back and to see him, because I've seen him like once for 5 minutes at the subway. But I got to pick him up from school, and we walked to the train. But I adore him, and it was just so good to see him, and he reminded me why, as we're making all these plans, why I loved to costume dancers. I am not a dancer. I do not pretend to be a dancer, but I have such respect for dancers. I have such respect for teachers. I grew up in a house of teachers, and you know, we were all like involved in the schools that we went to, and so I have, it just reminded me that, and even seeing my stuff, like I picked up my clipboard, my bags, my sewing stuff, and that's been missing in my life for a long time, and just being back in the dance studio, it was like, it made me miss it, and made me remember why, you know, almost 10 years ago I got involved and answered the call, can anybody help out? And it was just like one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because I made a lifelong friend, and so it was good. It was a cleansing thing to see my good friend, and to be able to do that with masks and everything. I kept my masks on, and I wasn't in the building very long, but it was very good for me, especially after yesterday. I will leave it there. Whatever you're dealing with in your life, I know we all hit a reset button on a lot of different things every day. Every one of us has multiple reset buttons, whether it's family, work, you know, home, life, whatever, relationships. Have to hit those reset buttons and do it. Scream out quiet mentally when you need to. because we can't fix everything all the time. We can't fix anything sometimes. We just have to, there's no fix sometimes. We just have to cope, rally ourselves, sit on the floor and cry, scream out, be mad, be upset, and then hit the reset to try to get back up. And sometimes resetting is not easy. I don't know what's coming with my back, or my leg, or my neck. It's gonna hurt, I know that. But I'm willing to hit the reset button because I don't want to go backwards. I don't. And I don't want to be more decrepit as I get older and falling apart. And pain is with me. We're all in pain. You know what I mean? Whatever. But like, the pain that I'm in, I have it every day. I don't focus on all of it. And when, like right now, my back is my focus, but it doesn't mean everything else isn't hurting. It's just, it's all I can focus on, because every time I move, it's like my back, my back, my back, my back. And it's with me because it's my back. So it's, you know, as if like if you have pain in your foot, every time you step, you're gonna feel that pain. So it's like, how do I forget that it's happening? I can't, but I compartmentalize it. Like, what do I have to deal with today? Where am I going? What am I doing? What book am I reading? What does my family need? You know, back pain, shove it to the back, literally, because it's like, what can I do about it? You know what I mean? It's with me. It's with me. I'm gonna leave it there. Quiet. Reset. I hope wherever you are, you're okay. I hope you have a low aggravation, no aggravation kind of a day and a weekend, because that's what we deserve. That's what we hope for. And I will see you tomorrow via the blog and next week for another video. Be well. Bye.